Right, okay. So I'm testing, see if this will work. This is kind of like normal talking. This is kind of like whisper talking. This is talking like decently loud. Let's see how it sounds. All right, if you can hear me, hello, welcome to a video. I'm making a video again. It's been a little bit. Things have been kind of nuts. Audio is going to be a little weird because I'm driving right now. I am currently on a road in the middle of Wyoming. I'm on my way to Denver Comic-Con, or no, shoot, they changed their name. Denver Pop Culture Con, is that what it's called now? And there was a whole thing with Salt Lake, and I'm doing an intro. I can go into stories later. Welcome to this video. What this video is everything that I've drawn during the quarantine times, all of the 2020 COVID drawings, if you will. I thought it would be a great idea to, since during a lot of quarantine I didn't do much video making, and there are a couple of reasons for that. I'll go into those a little bit later. But since I hadn't made all these videos, but I had all these drawings that I still wanted to post, I thought, what would it be like if I put all of these drawings together and just make one big long video? Turns out that video's over 2 hours long, so I've been hesitant to do the recording for this video, because, I don't know, needing 2 hours to just, sit down and record is, it seems so monumental. It seems like such a hurdle, is such a big deal, I need to do the video editing and everything, and I've already got the video put together, and I was going to watch it and do commentary on what I was drawing, and then I was driving through the middle of Wyoming and talking to myself anyway, and going, you know what, because I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about doing this video since conventions came back, and I just haven't got around to it. And that's the thing with things that you push off, is the further you push them off, the harder it is to actually just sit down and do them. So I know the time felt right, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna talk for 2 hours to myself in my car here and actually record it this time, instead of just letting it go to the ether. So I'm recording this on my new iPad. That's one of the reasons that I haven't been doing videos for the last little bit, is because my old iPad, shout out to my mom for giving me her iPad. It has been wonderful. I've used it for, most of, I think all of the chibi drawings since, I think Drowsy was the last one I drew on my Surface, which, what's the word I'm looking for here? No shade on surfaces, but also apologies to anyone to whom I might have recommended a Microsoft Surface instead of an iPad, because yes, it's cheaper. It's significantly cheaper. I think I paid like $400 for my Surface, and gosh, was it like $1,200 for the iPad here? But the Surface stopped running well almost immediately, and my iPad, my old one, it still runs just fine. The problem is that I am a file monster. I have 5 billion drawings in Procreate. I do animations, which are massive files, and then I do video editing, which are also massive files. So I didn't have any more room on my iPad. I couldn't take screenshots anymore. I couldn't save photos. I couldn't make new files in Procreate because I had filled my iPad so full of files that I just couldn't do anything with it. So I tried to do my video editing on the Surface, because again, I've been wanting to do this video for months now, and I haven't until right now. But so I tried doing the video on the Surface, and I got a video editing program, and I put all of the drawings together. And I know, unless something drastic happens in the future when I'm combining the video and the audio, the video itself will have been put together on the Surface. But it took a long time to do that because the Surface takes 50 years to load anything, and it crashes all the time. And honestly, I might not have the video from the Surface because I didn't export it when I made it, which was a couple months ago, and I do not know if the Surface will physically be able to open the file back up, let alone render it. So we'll see if that happens. If not, then I'll just put the files together on the iPad. I need to figure out a program I like for video editing on iPad anyway, because I use iMovie a decent amount. I've got another one that's got like a weird name. I don't know. I'm not going to look for it right now because I'm driving. But I like iMovie, but it doesn't have very good things for, like, I know what I need is essentially iMovie, but let me draw on it. Like, let me just draw arrows and move PNGs across the screen. That's all I need is an iMovie that lets me do that. So if you human person who is listening to this right now, or someone disguised as human person listening to me talk right now, if you know of a good video editor for iPad, let me know in the comments, because I'm wanting to get back into making videos again, and I have bazillions of ideas for videos that I want to make. I've got several animations that I'm in the middle of, and again, haven't been able to finish because my iPad keeps crashing. It's not crashing, it just... Sometimes. I lied. Sometimes I animate on Rough Animate, and sometimes Rough Animate does not take that well. Sometimes it just crashes, but I forgot what I was going off on. I have animations that I'm in the middle of right now, several of them. I have a spreadsheet on Google Sheets full of animation ideas and general video ideas, and then I have a different file on my phone that's in the Notes app that's also a list of video ideas, and then I have another one on the Notes app that's a list of animation ideas. So I promise I will be making videos. I just have been in a weird spot in my life, as you could probably imagine. If you're listening to this about the time that it comes out, you too will remember what has been going on for the last bit of human history. If you're listening to it way in the future, then hi, glad that humanity's still going, or at the very least the internet is still going way in the future. Very, very glad that you are alive and sentient, and hope that you're doing well. And I'm gonna tell you about what's been going on in my life during the event during the quarantine times. I don't know, I never know what to call it, because everyone's all like, oh yeah, back during the pandemic, and where I am at right now, there are still people dying from this thing. So like, I don't think we can really say before the pandemic, because I don't know when it's officially over. Is it ever officially over? Like, the bubonic plague's still around, but I guess the pandemic is done. At what point do we call it and be like, yeah, it's done? Everyone's kind of just back to their lives. We all got jobs again, and I'm on my way to a convention, and it's my... Gosh, how many conventions have I done this year? It's a decent amount. I've probably done like 10 or 15 shows. I don't know, I got bad memory. That is a thing that's been going on as long as I can remember, which it's kind of ironic, but I've had bad memory since I was a kid. So I you know how I was reading on the internet somewhere that there's a language, I think it's like the Incan language. Don't quote me on that, I could be totally wrong, but I read somewhere that there's a language that does not have measurements of time in it. They don't have a concept of time like we do, and people are like, oh, so how do they exist? How do they? And the answer is they have time, obviously. They're still moving through linear time, but they don't count time in increments like minutes and hours and days and stuff like that. They count things in events. It's either the time that is right now it's something we are reminiscing about, or it's something that will happen in the future. It doesn't, they don't get caught up on the exact wins and scheduling bullcrap that, as far as I know, I haven't met any of these people, but from what I read in my brief Wikipedia rabbit hole after reading a Tumblr post, it seems like that's kind of how they live their life, is just present and future. It's based on the things that happen in time, not the time itself. And that's kind of how I have lived my life essentially since I stopped going to school. Honestly, since I stopped going to high school. Because even in college, I don't know what day it is when I wake up. I don't have a daily calendar that I check off. I wake up in the morning, and if it's a day that I need to do something, I'll generally know, because I'll have been thinking about doing the thing. Sometimes I will set alarms on my phone to tell me in the morning that it's an important thing. But I also, I'm married, so I have a wife who will, when I wake up, be like, hey, remember today is the day that you gotta go, it's Dee Dee's appointment. Today's the day we have to go take the cat to the vet, or, it's driving day, we drive today, or we'll drive tomorrow. But the way I see my own time is, today is either a day off, a driving day, like a travel day, I guess I should say, because I occasionally fly to places. I'll be flying to New York in a couple weeks here, and I'm pretty excited about that. I love New York City. But so it's either a day off, it's a travel day, it's a convention day, or it's a work day. And that is just what my life is a list of. So I guess I keep track of, like, days, as in sleep cycles, between when I do things. But, like, I don't go, oh, it's Wednesday today, that means that I have my weekly whatever, because I don't really have things weekly. I got therapy every 2 weeks, kind of, but stuff happens all the time, and that gets moved around. And it's not been consistent since I started going, because I started going on Thursdays, and then I changed to Tuesdays for a bit, and then I changed to Wednesdays. So even that's, like, the most consistent thing I have going on, but it still doesn't keep me solidly in a labeled time system, if that makes sense. Because, I know, when I was in, like, high school, it was, this is Monday, it's the first day back in school, it's an A day for your block classes, you have these classes, and then you got family home evening that night, you go to sleep. Next day's Tuesday, you got your B classes, it's homework day, and then you go to sleep. Wednesdays, A classes again, got, I think Wednesday was mutual day, yeah, Wednesday I had my young women's stuff. I was very, very active in the religion that I grew up in. I've talked about it before. I grew up Mormon, and I was very active in that when I was young, because I was a good kid who wanted to make all of the adults in my life happy, because I couldn't make any of my peers happy. So I was a people pleaser who pleased the people that were easiest to please, which was the people in authority. So I just did as I was told, and acted as I was told, and cruised through life, because I never did anything for myself. I just did what was expected of me, I guess. And that does actually make life very easy externally, but internally it can do some havoc. It can do bad for you. So don't recommend living your life like that, but that's how I lived my life, was just going to all the meetings that people wanted me to go to, and doing all the extracurricular things that people wanted me to, and especially with church activities. Like I had, so Monday's family home evening, Wednesdays was mutual, so young men and young women's. I was obviously in young women's. I guess maybe that's not obvious, but I was in young women's. And then Thursday was Ward's sports night, whichever sport season it was. I did volleyball, I did basketball, I did... Was there another one? No, I think it's just volleyball and basketball. So Thursdays was sport night. Friday, if there were any ward parties, they would be on Friday. Saturdays usually weren't church things, but occasionally there would be like camping trips and things on Saturdays, although that was usually more my brothers that did camping, because, you know, boys get to do camping and learn how to set up a tent and like kill an animal and harvest its flesh and stuff, you know, all the manly things. I learned things like how to dish a plate of spaghetti to look pleasing for your date that you are trying to woo for husbandry, and how to fix clothes is actually a good one. That's one that I use all the time. I do know how to sew, and like scrapbooking and stuff like that. I don't know. I can't remember that much of what I actually did in Mutual. I just know that I went every Wednesday, but there was one time that we made spaghetti, and there was one time that we sewed, and there were a couple times of scrapbooking, but I know we did other stuff. I wonder what the bulk of it was. I know I have very vague memories of those times, because it's such a there was a partition. I don't know, and that's another thing with how I see time is time is kind of in chunks. Depending on what version of me I was during those chunks, if that makes sense. So, like, while I was in the church, I was the me that was a good Mormon girl. So, I'm guessing that version of me, which I've all but abandoned, is the part that has those memories, or had those memories. So, I know the parts that I do remember are either parts that were especially nice, that I have good, like, very strong, happy memories from, or the parts that were especially bad, that I have really strong, sad memories from. But I think everyone kind of works like that. Like, you don't constantly remember every event that happened in your entire life, because if you did, that would be insane. That would be nuts. I can't imagine how you would process anything on the day-to-day if your head was constantly full of the culmination of everything that's already happened. That's just not feasible. But I also feel like generally people who have a healthy memory capacity would be able to think back to their youth and think of more than 3 things they did on a Wednesday evening their entire upbringing, you know? Because I went to Young Women's, and before Young Women's, I went to, what was it called? I think it was called Achievement Days when I started going, and then they rebranded and changed it to Activity Days. I guess maybe to try to get more kids interested in it, because, like, when you go to a thing called Achievement Days, I mean, I did, but that's because I was a good little Mormon girl and I did what I was told. But so it was Achievement Days until I was 12, and then after that it was Young Women's, and I finished a thought, and I don't know where I was headed. I was headed somewhere with this story. Sorry, I'm trying to think about what I just said to know what I need to say next. I don't like editing audio when I do drawing videos. One of the things, and this is another one of the reasons, I guess, that I haven't been doing videos recently, is because I ramble. I like doing videos like this where it's a diary more than anything. It's a verbal diary for me. It's just my thoughts at the moment. I don't edit them. I don't censor myself in what I say. I mean, I do censor myself, but not like after the fact, you know, like once it's recorded, it's there, it's what I said. But there is a part of me that censors things before they come out of my mouth. Like I'll have a thought and I'll try to say it, and part of me will be like, nope, you don't say that one, so I don't. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's another one of the reasons I haven't been doing videos as of late, is that I've been using, especially the drawing logs, like things like the 7OC video, and a couple of the ones that, again, I have several videos that I am in the middle of making and haven't finished because I haven't been able to do the final editing on them because I don't have a good... I do now, but I didn't have a good machine for them. But those ones, like, I put work into... I mean, I put work into these ones too, obviously, but it's a different kind of work because I'll actually, like, I'll think about it for a while, and I didn't write a script for the 7 OCs video, but I did write myself a notes page, like key points that I knew I wanted to hit on in order, and like a cheat sheet, like a Cliff Notes version of what was in my head, and it came out pretty okay, so I think I might do that going forward. I'm not sure if there will be a point in which I want to, like, fully write out a video script before I record it, because I don't know, that seems off somehow to me. I guess it depends on what type of video it is. Maybe there are some videos that'll be really good for, and maybe that is something I should do. But for the most part, I'll think about a video a bazillion times before I actually sit down and make it. So I kind of have ideas of what I want to say. So it usually works out just fine to just sit down, push record, talk for however long I need to, and then just leave it be. You know, I don't like editing them. So in a way, my drawing videos, especially my daily draws that I did for a while, I think I stopped doing those about when COVID hit. But those videos are very much diary-esque for me. They're exactly what was on my mind and what comes out, and I don't re-record them, I don't edit them. I'll listen through them just to make sure that, like, I don't know, I didn't say something that I forgot that I really shouldn't say, especially now that I've got people actually watching my stuff. You know, I really want to be sure that I don't, like, say the names of people I'm talking about without their permission, but also it's kind of weird to ask people you know permission to say their names on the internet. So I don't know what's appropriate. I never thought there was a part of me that was like, oh, I put things on the internet, people will see them, I'll become the internet famous, you know. But there was also a part of me that thought no one is ever gonna watch this garbage because, like, I don't know, am I that special? There are 9 billion people on Earth, or is that the number? I don't know. There's a lot of people on the Earth, more people than I could ever talk to in my life, people that I could ever even fathom in my little mortal husk here. So am I really, like, special enough that I'll be one of the ones that stands out? And I know it remains to be seen how far I go with this, but if you're watching this right now, thanks for watching. If you're subscribed, holy crap, thank you. At the time of recording this, I had 15,000 subscribers. I lost like 200 because, you know, I haven't uploaded a video for... Has it been like a year now? It's been a while. I haven't uploaded a video in a while, and I should be uploading videos. Again, I've got ideas galore for videos. I've been wanting to do YouTube videos since I was little. I used to make animations on the home, like the family shared computer, and then one of my files got far too big. I was animating a tree, just like blowing in the wind atmospherically, but I didn't know about particle effects because I am self-taught in every program I use. So I didn't know that particle effects were a thing because I was in like 5th grade, and I must have been older than that. No, because it was for... Okay, I was in at least 8th grade. So I was in like 8th or 9th grade-ish. I wasn't in high school yet, so I was in 8th or 9th grade. And I was animating a tree. And it had hundreds of leaves because I drew each leaf individually because I didn't know about particle effects because I was self-taught. So this tree was a beast. It was like 2 seconds of just the tree moving back and forth, which if I'd had a more powerful machine that could have handled it would have looked really cool, because what I did do was I set up my tree. Oh, then this is another reason. So I used Anime Studio, which is a bone and vector based animation program. I don't know how to explain that for people who don't know what those words mean. You set up a skeleton, like bones, for your thing, and then you move them around, and your parts are vectors. So they're like Adobe Illustrator, not like Adobe Photoshop. They got the points that you can move around, so you can move your shapes while you're animating. Really nice program, really powerful, really great. I had leaves made of vector, so that's like 30 points per leaf, and I had thousands of leaves, and then each of those leaves had their own bone groups. And then I was moving the bones with the magnet tool to give it a more organic effect. I really was trying to make this look like an actual tree blowing in the wind. And it would have looked awesome if it worked, but it didn't work. What it did was destroy the family computer completely. It like burned that thing. So, yeah, I didn't post any of my childhood animation work because at the time that I was, making it, I was too young to, and this is kind of showing where we are culturally. I didn't have access to the internet outside of the family room until I was a senior in high school. My last year of high school was when I had, and I still wasn't supposed to have internet access outside of the family room. I had an iPod, not an iPod Shuffle, like an iPod Touch, one of the first touch screen things, before iPhones really started catching on. Like, my teachers all had Blackberries because they were cool, and Blackberries were like this big new thing with all the, like, a full keyboard on your phone instead of just the 9 keys. Whoa, revolutionary, So I had an iPod Touch in high school, and the school Wi-Fi was set up for the sake of like printers and things like that. But it was early enough in the days of the internet that people didn't realize that kids could get into real trouble with unmonitored internet access. And there might have been some sort of like security on the school Wi-Fi, but as far as I know, there wasn't, because I was just on the Wi-Fi at school. I was on Manga Fox, reading all sorts of manga. I was, that was back during my Omegle days. So I was on freaking Omegle in school. Like, there is no way you should be doing that on the school Wi-Fi. Like, they should have had something to block sites like that, and they didn't. So I had, like, internet access at that point, and at that point I started putting the things I was doing online, but at that point I was drawing more. I wasn't animating because I didn't want to be in the family room all the time to do my work, and everyone else was using the computer, and I know I was just enjoying drawing at the time. I was doing a webcomic. Don't look it up, it's bad. I know, but I'm keeping it on the internet because, again, I don't believe in censorship. So even though and maybe this is just to the point I'm at in my life, maybe when I'm older I'll look back on it with fondness and be like, oh, I was so young. But right now I look at it and I go, oh my gosh, it's so cringy. It's a fan art webcomic on DeviantArt that I drew on, like, I had one pencil that I used because it was my drawing pencil, and I drew on printer paper, and then I scanned it and just put it on the internet. I didn't do any fine tuning. I didn't clean up any smudges. It's just absolute garbage. And I mean, I've come a long way as an artist, so it's also like not good artwork to look at. And also it's one of my first stories, so it's not written incredibly well. And also, I was a very, very, very closeted lesbian. So there are some heavy, romantic, I'm gonna say romantic, but like, y'all know what I mean. There were some undertones that I was, I'm not gonna say oblivious to, but in denial of, which makes the whole thing just a cringe fest to read. So, I know, I guess if you want a good cringe, go ahead and read it. If I remember to, I'll link it, but if not, again, this is, it's called Milady. which, to be fair, I named before, like, Tips Hat Milady became a freaking meme. Before, like, this was before bronies were a thing. This was back when, like, meme base was called Icon Has Cheeseburger. Like, you know, the internet was just a cringier place back in the day, I think. Or, I don't know, or maybe we all just look at our old stuff and go, oh gosh, it's old, therefore it's bad. It's not a thing I would make now, therefore it wasn't a good thing. And, like, I'm not going to say that. There were good parts of my comic, just most of it's kind of garbage. If I did it today, I would do it very, very differently. But if you want to go look up my comic on DeviantArt, it was called Milady, and it's about Lindis and Florina, because, if you didn't know, I am just obsessed with Lindis and Florina from Fire Emblem Rekka-no-Ken. They have been a thing that I've fixated on since I first played Fire Emblem, which was for Game Boy Advance, so however long ago that was. But so anyway, I've gone off on a tangent now, and I have no idea what I was saying. There was some point I was trying to make. DeviantArt days. iPad, internet, animating. Oh, I didn't put any of my animations on the internet because I didn't have access to the internet when I was animating. There we go. That was the point of the story. I really went off there. Yeah, so I'm gonna go, like, way back in this this stream of consciousness here, this stream of things I've been saying, and go back to what's been going on with me during the COVID times. So if you didn't know, hi, my name's Emily. I'm an artist. I'm a professional artist, which is, oh, yeah?
We found a faster route via US 287 South and I-25 South, which saves 3 minutes. If you prefer to stay on the current route, tap no thanks.
Just keep me on my route, dude. I don't want to... Sorry, I'm not gonna save 3 minutes by going wherever it wants. Sorry, just so you know, anyone listening here, Google has many times been like, hey, save yourself some time, go on this route, and then it leads me to a dirt road that doesn't exist. It took me into, like, a place up, like, by a windmill. I was, like, at the base of a windmill, and then on my way back found, like, a bunch of no trespassing signs that were not there on the way in, and, like, I really thought I was gonna get in trouble for that one, because, you know, Google told me, hey, this is gonna be a nice fast detour for you, just do it. So I don't trust Google when it says, hey, we have a detour for you. I've trusted it too many times, and in vain. You know, I've been betrayed by Google's whatever just too many times. I'm staying on the route that I know works. So I will not be saving the 3 minutes, thank you. I will be taking 3 more minutes to not go on a dirt road or a non-existent road or into someone's private property. But so, okay. Hi, I'm Emily. There we go, back to that. I'm a professional artist, which is nuts to me. But it's what I do for a living. I go to conventions. I'm on my way to one right now. My wife and I, we draw chibis. We draw chibi badges. You probably know this because if you are listening to this, you are currently on YouTube with, unless someone stole my content and put it somewhere else, which, if you're not watching this on the Chibi-tasm YouTube, this content's been stolen, so maybe don't watch it here, go watch it on YouTube. But, my wife and I, we draw chibi badges, and we draw chibis, we make them into badges, we make them into stickers, we make them into keychains, and we go to conventions around the country, and yeah, that's what I do for a living. So shout out to everyone who has met me at conventions before. Big shout out to anyone who's bought my chibi badges, because it's because of you guys that, one, I'm able to, like, have a roof over my head and food and such. Two, that I'm able to actually like do something I love for a living. I love drawing these little guys. I wouldn't do it if I didn't, you know. I mean, there are times when it gets stressful, but like anything, too much of anything is stressful. Like too many video games is overwhelming, you know. Too much food is overwhelming. Everything in moderation. But yeah, I love what I do. It's fantastic. I've been doing it. So at the time of recording this, it's like late October. It's almost Halloween of 2021, and I've been doing conventions full time since about 2013. Now, okay, a couple caveats if you're listening to this and going like, whoa, it's that easy to just convention. It has taken me a long time to get to the point that I'm doing it full time. I was only doing it full time. No, it must have been after 2013. Maybe it was like 2014. Because for a bit, I was doing conventions between school. I didn't make any money at that. I was doing that by myself. I was a actual child. In fact, I was doing some conventions just for funsies in high school. Because, I don't know, I love the atmosphere of conventions. I love talking to people. I've always wanted to be a professional artist, and having just a table that I could sell my art at seemed like the best way to spend my weekend. So I got a table as a kid, and I had my crappy artwork, which, you know, if you went and actually saw my lady, you know about what level of artwork I was at when I started, because that was about the time. So I was, you know, I did some conventions for fun, and then Brittany came into my life when I was doing pony conventions, because My Little Pony had just become a thing. I was a huge brony. I was way in the fan base back in the day, and I was, this is my claim to fame, woo me, I was the second person to make a plushie pattern that actually looked like the ponies in the show. I wasn't one of the first people to start making plushies for My Little Pony, but the ones before me either did like the ones that look like Mudkips body-wise, or the ones that are just squares, or the ones that are like, you know, like the beanbags that they kind of like lay on their stomachs with their heads up, and then their two arms forward and their two legs backwards. Like that pattern was pretty common. But people hadn't really either taken the time or figured out how to do a good pattern that actually looked like they looked in the show, you know? So I did it, and the other person who had been doing them at the time was Equestria Plush. I'm not sure if they are still around, if they're still doing conventions, but at the time, what they did was they had their husband would 3D model the ponies and then use the program on the computer to pull it apart and make a pattern out of it, so they could then sew it and make these. And they made huge, beautiful plushies. Theirs were minky, where mine were fleece. I mean, I started doing minky eventually, but this was like to start out here. They had giant, beautiful ponies, and they were in such high demand. I remember I talked to her about it because she was very impressed with my pattern making, and I was like fangirling because this is Equestria Plush talking to me, and she likes my designs. Like, holy crap. But so I was talking to her, and she was saying, you know, she never expected this to happen, but she had so many requests and orders going on for these ponies that she had to inflate her prices to keep herself from getting overwhelmed with orders. So her plushies went for like $1,000 to $2,000 each. And to be fair, I make pony plushies. I have made pony plushies. I guess I got one that I might be making at some point here if I get some time off of conventions. But I very rarely make pony plushies anymore, which, by the way, if you want a pony plushie from me, contact me, hit me up. I love doing commissions, but they're going to be expensive because, as I'm saying here, I know how long it takes to make a pony plushie. It's like an entire day's process if you have everything already in order. So like, if you already have your pattern made, that means you have the hair pattern, the files for the embroidery to do the eyes and the cutie mark. You have all of your fabric ready to go. And then you have to embroider everything and cut it out and sew it together and stuff it and do the hand sewing on the final details. It is at least a full day's process to make each one of those plushies, which is why, you know, at the time I charged like $150 for one, because it took me an entire day plus all of the material costs. And then when you're doing conventions, you got to pay for your table too. If I were to do one now, I might charge $300 for it, and then additional for customizations, because I like doing them again, but they're hard. They take a long time to make, and they're exhausting. It's fulfilling as can be. Making plushies is one of the most fulfilling things artistically, because I know it's like when you draw something on the computer and then you print it out, and suddenly it's like a physical thing in your hands. And you're holding it, and that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I made this. I made this thing. It's like that, but you make a 3D soft plushie object. It's awesome. Making plushies is amazing. I want to make plushies again. But I don't have time right now. That's okay. I'll make them. I'll make plushies again. I make them sporadically. Actually, a couple of the videos I have planned for the future are plushie making videos. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned, I guess, for me to finally get around to actually doing the things I keep planning on doing. But so, okay, I've been doing conventions for a long time, is the point. I've been doing them full-time since Brittany, well, not since Brittany. So I was in college doing pony conventions when I met Brittany. I was so we were in a dorm together. There was a kitchen and a living room, and then 3 bedrooms and 2 people in each bedroom. I was in the middle bedroom. Brittany was in the bedroom on the side, the one that was like connected to the living room. She was in the big bedroom, which was supposed to be a 1-person bedroom, but she still paid the premium price, and they put 2 people in there. The longer I stayed at that place, the worse it got, and apparently it got worse after I left. But so I met Brittany as I was in our shared common living room sewing stuffed animals, and she was interested, and she helped me out in sewing them. Actually, I taught her how to use the sewing machine. That's right, because she didn't know how to sew at the time. I went to school one day, and she tried to make me a plushie while I was gone to like surprise me, and she was pulling the fabric through towards her instead of pushing it through because she didn't know how it worked. So she broke the needle, and then she did figure out how to replace the needle and replaced it with my denim needle, and then she broke that needle too, and then she put another one in, and at that point she had sewn enough that she made me a little heart about like the size to fit in my hand. And she went through 3 needles, and that was all the needles I had. I had to go buy more needles after that. I never bought another denim needle, but I've sewn through so much denim and never used a denim needle, so I don't know why there's a specific needle for denim, because I never needed it. But, so yeah, Brittany helped me out with the ponies, and then I was like, hey, I'm going to Vegas for this convention. You, human person listening here, perhaps have heard of this convention, especially if you are in the brony community. It was Las Pegasus. If you have not heard of this convention, this is the convention that almost shut down brony conventions and just like conventions in general for the voice acting community, because this convention, it was in Las Vegas, so it was like a big deal, you know? It was one of the first brony conventions, not the first, but it was supposed to be like this huge thing, and they shelled out to get themselves some good guests. They had Andrea Libman there, they had Tara Strong there, they had I'm pretty sure they had, I don't remember his name, but the voice of Discord was there too. Some big names in the voice acting. Tara Strong specifically is like a big name. And then at some point during the convention, the heads of the convention, the people who ran it, just disappeared, as did all of the money that they had made. And then suddenly, the voice actors weren't paid and the hotel wasn't paid. So the hotel was like, hey, everyone who paid through the convention, you're going to have to pay us too. So people had to like double pay for their hotels. And on my end, Saturday in the artist alley, people start coming around like, hey, I know we're supposed to have 5 more hours. We're leaving now. And if you don't leave, they're keeping your stuff as collateral. So pack up and go, which, for us, wasn't a big deal because we had come to the convention with, I want to say, like 40 plushies. I'd been working for weeks to get all these plushies made. But so we went to the convention with like 40 plushies, and I sold all of them by the end of Friday. And then Saturday, I was in my hotel room making more ponies. And then I made more Saturday night and sold them first thing Sunday morning and didn't have time to make any more. So we were already actually like closing up our artist alley table to just go have fun in Vegas because we didn't have anything else to sell. We'd sold all our plushies, So when they came around and shut everything down, we were already shut down, so it wasn't a big deal. But a lot of people, like, it was a mess, and there were like there was a money system, is that the right word? They made fake money that you could pay real money for and then go use the fake money at the convention, and then the vendors would trade that fake money in for real money again once the convention was over. It was just like a fun thing that was like, I don't know, just for funsies, let's pay with fake money. Now what that was a way to get a bunch of cash in the hands of the people who just booked it and left the convention. So my dad, being a finance person, and he was there with us because, I went to conventions with my dad because I was a kid. I wasn't going by myself when I was like 17, But so my dad, sorry, I need to drop my register here. I think my voice is starting to get sore. That might be because for the first 4 hours of this trip, I was just like scream singing. But, and now I'm talking, which is not great for my voice either. But, so my dad, looked at these Equestria bucks and was like, we're not accepting those. No, we're accepting money. So we weren't out anything, but a bunch of vendors had to leave early or risk having their stuff held as collateral by the convention center because the convention didn't pay them, and they had all of this useless fake money instead of real money for all the real product that they'd sold. And I'm pretty sure Tara Strong is the one that is allergic to shellfish, so they poisoned Tara Strong. And then I think one of the staff members might have yelled at her, and then she didn't get paid. So she was going to just boycott conventions in general, especially anything pony related, and was urging all of her people to do likewise. So the pony community had to come together and do some fundraising really quick to pay the hotel and pay the voice actors, so that pony conventions could keep happening, because one jerk decided to take all the money from a convention and run. And again, I was there. I know kind of what happened, but I know from my end what happened. So I heard stories from a couple different people, but please take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I don't know the convention heads personally. I wasn't at the VIP dinner where allegedly Tara Strong was poisoned with some shellfish, which I think was just an accident. But also, I don't know, when people have life-threatening allergies, especially VIPs, maybe take note of that. Maybe don't serve them food that has one of the 7 most common allergens in the world in it. That doesn't seem like hard stuff to me, but what do I know? I'm just an artist. I just draw a chibi badge. But so we went to this convention, and we sold out of ponies the first day. And so Brittany, she had been helping me make the plushies, but she also made herself some little pony badges, because she liked badges. She liked getting them at conventions. She liked how they looked. She thought they'd be fun to make. She wanted to do something with just little pictures, and that seemed like a fun thing to do. So she had some little pony badges that she'd drawn, and they were, compared to the ponies, like the pony plushies, they were easy to make, and she had a lot of fun with them. So after we got back from Las Pegasus, she went, hey, it was really fun doing the table together. I'd love to do another one. And, I'm infatuated with this girl. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's, anytime. Yeah. I mean, she's infatuated with me too. Spoiler alert, we ended up getting married. But, so we're like, yeah, we should do another convention together. I'm going to work on some ponies. I'm going to make some plushies. And she's like, cool. I want to make more badges. The next convention we were doing was Anime Bonsai, which is the small local convention in, I think at that point it was still in Layton. It's in Utah. It's the one that I grew up going to. Brittany grew up going to it, which honestly we could have met before we met, but we didn't. We had almost meetings, your name style. We almost met several times before we actually did, but I'm glad we did finally. But so we were going to Anime Bonsai. Brittany's like, I want to make some more badges, but not just ponies. I've got a bunch of different characters I want to make. So she drew like 150-ish characters, and we cut out and made some badges, and we brought them to Anime Bonsai, and the rest is history. It went well. We liked making them. We improved our techniques. We got better at making them. The more we made, the more badges we made, the more money we made from them. We figured out how to travel better. We both love traveling, so we, and it really bugs me when people are like, hey, there are like 5 truths in this life, and one of them is never work with your spouse. Work is where you go to get away from your spouse. And honestly, I'm so sorry. If you feel like that, why are you married? Why are you married if you are wanting to get away from your spouse? All of the couples that I know that have been happy are sad to go to work because they have to leave each other, So Brittany and I like spending all our time together. That's one of the reasons I decided to do this voiceover right now, is because these drives are lonely when Brittany's not with me. But Brittany's not coming to this convention because she's doing tattoos now, which is freaking awesome. 10 out of 10, good stuff. I miss her. Sorry, I'm coating my throat with some Baja Blast. We'll see how that goes. See if that helps. We were doing these conventions, and it was a little bit between, that first bonsai where we had badges and the time in which I went, I'm quitting. I was working in Moab, Utah at a health supplement company. I don't think that's actually what they are. What do they even make? They make superfood pills? Is that... I don't know. They make supplements. They make food that's not technically food. It's technically medicine, but it's made of food. I don't know. Look them up if you're interested. It's the Synergy Company of Utah. They make good stuff, but I was working there. I was doing production, and at some point, we looked at what we were making from conventions and what I was making there, and went, if I take all of the time that I'm spending at this job and put it into conventions, I can probably make the same amount and then not have to deal with both things. So we dropped it, and then conventions now make more than I was making there, so good choice, wouldn't go back. I mean, I didn't hate my production job, but again, I want to spend every waking moment I can with my wife, and conventions let me do that, and working production did not let me do that. I like working conventions because, I don't know, I'm that, what's sorry, I'm thinking of words here. I am the type of Asperger's where I really, really like talking to people about my special interests. And I like having the same conversation about my special interests like 50 times in a day. And that works great when my special interest is all the anime things and I am at convention and I can talk to 50 different people about Full Metal Alchemist in a day. You know? It works really well for me. I love conventions. But so we started doing conventions full time at some point, and it is now my full-time job. And from the point that I quit my job at Synergy until late 2019, I was doing conventions full time. And then late 2019, I was at, it was either Rose City or KamoriCon. It might have been KamoriCon, because I think that one's in the fall. Anyway, I was at a convention in Portland, Oregon. My wife was, looking at the news going, hey, I'm not so sure we're going to be able to do that many conventions this winter. This COVID thing is really hurting China, and it looks like they're not going to be able to contain it. It's only a matter of time before it's in the U.S. And I'm like, you're probably right. Let's make what we can and just kind of take life as it comes, because the thought of losing conventions was stressing me out, and I wasn't going to admit to myself that conventions could go away because I didn't want them to. So at that convention in Portland in like October, it might have been November. I think it was November of 2019. I got sick. I got really sick. I got more sick than I've been like before or since. And generally once per year I will get sick at conventions. When I first started doing them, I was traveling around and interacting with a lot of people, and I would have gross money hands, and I got sick a lot because I was being introduced to all these new things. About the third year of doing conventions, I stopped getting sick at all because I'd already caught everything, and my immune system was like, hey, yeah, it's no big. I gotcha. Like, I get the sniffles for a day. I do this thing where I don't get sick while I'm working because my body is in work mode, and during work mode, I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep, I don't need to use the bathroom, and I do not get sick. So I'll do this thing where I get through a convention, and then I get very sick after I leave, but it'll still only be for like a day, and that happens maybe once or twice a year. This was not that. I got sick during the convention. I was sick for a good 2 weeks after the convention. It was I couldn't breathe. I had a very difficult time breathing. I was stuffed up and I couldn't taste anything. If I spoke any louder than like this, if I got to the register where I'm using my big vocal cords, I guess, I couldn't speak that loud. I would start coughing. It was like I was having a constant asthma attack. And then I started getting fevers, and then I started getting delirious. When I started, when the sickness didn't go away at the end of the convention, we had stayed in Portland because we like Portland and we wanted to hang out in Portland for a bit. But when we started heading home and I wasn't getting better, we were a little worried. Side note, this is the trip that on our way out of Portland, our car was broken into, so that set us back a day because we had to get the car fixed, which I live streamed myself looking at the car because, I wanted some sort of... Okay, my phone is also, it does the same thing my poor old iPad did. I put too much stuff on my devices and they do not have enough memory. So my phone was too full for me to record video. I wanted something for the sake of my insurance company. So I live streamed myself looking over the video, because then I'd have video, but it didn't need to save to my phone. So it's on my Instagram right now. There is video of me with my broken into car, and I was ticketed while I waited for the police to show up, which they never did, by the way. So, but there's video of me looking at my car and going off about it, and that was the beginning of the sickness, when I was starting to lose my voice and it was starting to become hard to breathe. And you can hear it in my voice. You can hear how sick I was. So we were delayed a day because we had to get our window fixed. And then that day's delay got us caught in the storm that we were trying to beat going home. So we got stuck in a storm, big snowstorm. The roads were undrivable. We had to just pull over and find a place. And the only thing that was not booked out completely because of this flash storm was a little private hot spring retreat. It was way more expensive than we wanted it to be, but we didn't have anywhere else to go. And I think we might have been planning to spend the one day there, but then we got snowed in there. So we were there for a couple days. And I do not remember that time at all. I have video of it, so I know what it looks like, and I have... And that's the thing, is I don't know if they're memories or if they're remembering the videos and therefore making false memories, because I know it's a place I should remember. But it was a yurt, and then outside the yurt was a little patio with two hot tubs that are not hot tubs, two bathtubs that were connected to the hot spring water. So you could fill the bathtub with hot spring water and take a soak and then go back into the yurt. And I spent my time there alternating between going inside and falling asleep and not sleeping soundly, but like sick sleeping, fever sleeping, and going outside and soaking in the hot tub, because when I was out there with the warm water and the cold air, I could breathe. I couldn't breathe very well inside, which is why I kept going in and out. And honestly, if I was not at those hot springs, if we had been stranded in a Best Western or something, I don't know if I would have survived that, because again, the hot springs opened up my airways enough that I could breathe, and I made it through those 2 days, but I was sick enough that I wasn't sure I would. It was bad. So if you haven't guessed by now, I'm pretty sure I had COVID. I don't know for sure because, when COVID first came to the States, for the first couple months, there were no COVID tests. Not for people like me, for, the millionaires could have a bazillion for them and all their friends so they could have their fancy parties still. But, me, I couldn't find out if I had it, so I knew if I was actually okay to keep doing conventions. But, at that point, it's my livelihood. My conventions are already booked. So I finished out I was going to finish out the last of the conventions I had booked for the year. There were only 3 more. I did one convention in Vegas, which I really, really, really apologize if you bought chibis from me. I don't remember what the convention was, but the last convention before everything shut down in Vegas, I'm really sorry if I gave you COVID. I didn't think that I had COVID because I didn't think that COVID was in the US yet. It wasn't supposed to be. We had been told that it was just overseas and it might be coming over at some point. And it was early enough that people didn't know the symptoms of COVID. It was just this thing we were hearing about online, So I did that convention in Vegas. And during that weekend, we got 1 or 2 emails from other conventions, the conventions that we had for the rest of the year, because December there really aren't that many conventions. There are a couple Christmas themed conventions, but I don't do those cons because they're not good enough to be worth missing Christmas for, or the Christmas season. So I kind of just take December off of conventions because it's bad to drive, the conventions aren't good, and I just like having a month off a year. So, but my November conventions canceled, gone. They were gone during the course of that convention in Vegas. And then over the next week, we got emails from the rest of our conventions for the year, like the next year, all of our 2020 conventions, saying that, there's a pandemic now. People are dying in mass. We can't have large gatherings. Conventions are closed. So in the course of a week, I lost my livelihood completely. All the conventions stopped. They went away. There weren't any more. So we went home from Vegas, and at that point, Brittany started getting sick, and we knew it was probably COVID. So we took Brittany home, and she did not get as sick as I got, but she was sick for a long time. She was down for all through December with this thing. And shout out to Andrew, and I'm saying Andrew's name because I don't know, I don't feel like he has a problem with me saying his name on the internet, but my brother Andrew and my dad, they would swing by our apartment and drop us off groceries because we were afraid to go to the store because we didn't want to get people sick, so we stayed in our apartment for a couple weeks. Brittany played some Skyrim. I don't remember what I was doing during that time. And it hadn't really sunk in at that point that conventions were gone, because it was December anyway. I wasn't supposed to have conventions, and it was the end of the year, so I was ready to be done with conventions for a bit anyway. But then, February came, and there still weren't conventions. Or not February, January is the next month. I'm like I said, I'm bad with time. But, January came, there weren't any conventions. February came, there weren't any conventions. Brittany and I had... Oh, gosh, I don't remember exactly how things were set up. But so we had the choice of either we pull out, like we take all the money back from all of the conventions that we've paid for tables on already. We don't buy our travel itinerary beforehand, or very far beforehand, maybe like a month before a convention, because first of all, we don't usually have that much liquid money to be able to just have flights ready to go, and hotels especially. And second of all, sometimes we don't know who all is going to conventions, who we can split hotels with, whatever. So it just usually works out that we don't have our travel stuff done. So we didn't have any money in like hotels and flights for the most part. I think we might have had one flight that we got refunded because, they refunded you because everything was closing because COVID. But then we had all of our tables, which if you don't know, when I started doing conventions, it was maybe like $50 for an Artist Alley table. Nowadays, it's like a cheap Artist Alley table is $150, a cheap vendor table is $300, and then an expensive of either of those can go for over $1,000. So we had a lot of money in conventions, not fluid money, not money we could touch. And we had the choice of, do we take the money back from these conventions so that we can pay rent and, pay phone bills and do all, have money while we don't have a job right now, or do we leave the money in conventions and put money on our credit cards until the conventions come back? Because again, this was the beginning of the quarantine times, the beginning of the pandemic, and when things first started closing, we had a week right after a convention. And we didn't know how long things were going to be closed. We didn't know how long it would be before we would have conventions again. So we had the option with all of these conventions to either just keep the money in and roll our tables over to 2021 or to get our money back. And we decided to keep our money in the conventions because if you don't do conventions, you don't quite know how it works. But there's different types of like applications to get into conventions. None of them are very fun. None of them are very easy. And there are a lot of conventions that there are some conventions that it took us years of applying to get into. And once you get into those conventions, you do not drop your tables. You won't get back in, you know? We also kind of figured that we didn't know how things were going to go during the COVID times. So we didn't know if we would be able to make the money to pay upfront for new tables. So we just decided to keep all our money in our tables so that when conventions came back, we could jump back into it and put all our money on credit cards. Which, I mean, I still think is the right decision because, you know, when conventions came back, we were able to jump back into conventions and pay down credit cards and do all the good stuff. And things turned out okay. But what that meant was we could not pay rent. So we weren't able, and we were lucky. It just so happened we were like 3 months left on our lease, 2 or 3 months left on our lease. So we put all of our other expenses on credit cards, used what money we had in savings to pay off the rest of our lease on our apartment, and then we couldn't renew it. We could not afford rent at that point. And, you know, I don't know if you're one of the many people who lost their job during COVID, but getting a job during COVID was not a thing that you could really do. You know, if you lost your job, you were just kind of out of luck because everyone was just at home going, when are we going to be able to get jobs again? So we started door dashing to try to pay what bills we could. I mean, after Brittany started feeling better and we finally did get her a test to make sure she didn't have COVID. Up until that point, we did not leave the house because we were terrified of killing people with this thing that we didn't understand. And we didn't know if she had or not. So we started door dashing. We finished out the lease on our apartment, but then we couldn't renew it, so we lost our apartment. And my mom, bless her freaking heart, gave us her basement. I currently live there. I'm looking at moving out in another month or two now. Now that I've had conventions back for the better half of a year, I can afford to have a place again. But my mom let us move in with her into her basement, and she lives in Tooele, Utah. The chances are, statistically speaking, if you're listening to this, you don't know what this means. But what it means is she lives like an hour out from Salt Lake City, which is the middle of Utah, and anything important in Utah is like 20 minutes from Salt Lake City. But mom's like an hour out from that. So to get to Salt Lake to do door dashing is an hour drive, or to get to Lehigh's, where our printers are that we get our chibi badges printed from, because theoretically chibi badges you can print anywhere, but there is a UPS store in Lehi, Utah that is the best quality prints I have ever had. The colors pop, they're on point all the time. I've never had smudging with them. I've never had, like printers get that like yellow line that goes through every single page. I've never had any issues with them. They've always been very nice to me, so they're just my printing people. I go to them. But, it became an hour and a half drive to go get my printing. But that didn't matter because I wasn't making chibi badges during the COVID times, because we were just door dashing all day, every day. Just to make enough money to pay our minimum payments on our credit cards and our phone bill. And that's what we could afford. Because, I don't know, I think maybe nowadays DoorDash is like, a doable thing to like make a living on. But for us, and the other thing is, our car was old. So Brittany, when she saw that everything was going away, the conventions were going away,
In 2 miles, take exit 359A for I-25 South, US 87 South toward Fort Collins.
Thank you, I will. When Brittany saw the way things were going, she went, oh, our credit's about to go kaput. If we're going to get a new car, we need to do it now. So we went and got a car right before COVID, because that was our backup plan. Our backup plan through conventions had always been, hey, if this fails, I've heard door dashing is fine. But our old soul, that it's got like 300,000 miles on it, this poor 2013 thing. By the way, highly recommend Kia Souls. I don't like my new Soul as much as I like my old one. No offense, buddy, you're a good car. But old Kia Souls especially, that thing holds up. They can fit so much more than you think. Souls are great cars. But so we bought a car so that we could DoorDash. And then we had to have like a special type of car insurance for DoorDash, which is stupid, absolute baloney. But so we were paying more on that, and we were paying the car payments, and we were paying credit card payments, and so it was
in half a mile, take exit 359A for I-25 South, US 87 South toward Fort Collins.
Sorry, I might, I'm not going to be talking for a second, because I'm not going to be talking as good, because I'm driving, and I need to be sure that I do not miss my exit here.
Take exit 359A.
I will take the 359A. But so, the long and short of it is, DoorDashing
Continue on I-25 South for 94 miles.
Wait, which one? A? Fort Collins. Okay, I see. Sorry, I'm really bad at roads that I don't know, which is most roads. I know the roads in Tooele really well now, because I was door dashing for a while. For a while, I mean for like a year. But so we had higher bills than we were used to having, because even though we didn't have rent anymore, we had credit card bills, which were insane, absolutely insane. I do not recommend getting a credit card unless you like really need one, or you have no intention of letting it build, like you're getting it for the sake of building credit, and you're doing like a recurring 1 monthly payment on it and paying it off immediately just to build your credit. Like, that's fine. I do not recommend building up as much credit card debt as we did, because it is a burden on your very soul. I mean, during the course of, the quarantine times, during the COVID days, during 2020, essentially, we had 2 credit cards we were paying on. They each had a minimum of about $200 payment per month. So we paid $400 in credit card minimum every single month. And by the end of, when conventions came back, because of how much interest those suckers build up, we had paid off maybe a total of $200 actual loan balance on each card. Essentially, we worked an entire year just to pay off the interest on those cards. It's insane the way these things work. I do not like it. It's not one of my favorite things that humans have done. So if you can avoid credit cards, I would avoid them at all costs if you can. But also, you have to have a credit card to have a credit score, and you have to have a credit score to buy a house. So, yeah, but good luck with that anyway right now. Gosh, anyway. Sorry, I don't. Money makes me nervous for many reasons, but the COVID times escalated that quite a bit. So we were working a DoorDash day was about like a 10-hour day to make. We were wanting to make 150 a day, and it took about 10 hours to do that. And we were doing that almost every single day. It was exhausting. And I think maybe now that COVID is done, it's more doable to make livable money on DoorDash and like Uber Eats and Grubhub. You know, we were on all of the things. But for a while, everyone was doing it because it was one of the only jobs that was left. So there were too many people, too few orders, and not enough people with the disposable income to order delivery and leave a good tip. So it was long, hard hours for very little pay, and that money immediately went into paying interest on credit cards, and it was just a stressful disaster. There were things about DoorDash that I loved, like especially the Christmas season is wonderful to DoorDash because you're driving around all these neighborhoods that you never would have gone into, and you get to see all the decorations and see the snow on the trees, and you know, especially in Utah, you know, you're doing all these deliveries up in the mountains, and you can look out and see the valley below and all the lights, and yeah, there were things that I really enjoyed about DoorDashing. But I would not trade it for conventions. I would never in my life would I go back to DoorDashing unless it was, again, like my one way of making money. It was good for me. It did good. It got me through a very difficult part of my life. Shout out to all my DoorDashers listening right now. Putting the vibes out there. I hope you get a unicorn today. I hope you get like a $30 tip on your next order. But yeah, so during this time, while we were living in my mom's basement, an hour and a half from, like, you know, all of the things I owned were in a storage unit. Which I guess that's another bill that we had was, you know, we couldn't bring all our furniture to my mom's because she already had furniture. So we got a storage unit. There was another bill we were paying down every month. I guess you don't pay down that, though. You just pay it as it goes. Either way. So I was an hour and a half from my things. I was an hour from the city where we went to DoorDash because it took a while for Tooele. Tooele didn't have DoorDash. That's right. DoorDash was still a relatively new system, and Tooele did not have anything, so we had to go down to Salt Lake to work, which meant we were paying for the gas to drive an hour to start DoorDashing, all of the gas while DoorDashing, and then the gas back every day. So we spent like $30 in gas every day to make $150, and then we had insurance on top of that, and then we were barely hitting bills. We were barely hitting bills working more than I work doing conventions. And I say that loosely because, like, I don't know, there are a lot of things that I do for conventions that don't feel like work, so it doesn't feel like I'm working like 80 hours a week, which I know sometimes I am, but it felt more exhausting than working conventions. It did not have the same gratification as working conventions. It didn't give me the social fulfillment that conventions give me. And more than anything, like, I didn't realize before I lost conventions how much conventions define me. That's not the right word.
Welcome to Colorado.
Thank you. Welcome you to Colorado too. I am a convention artist. That is what I do for a living. And when I'm not at conventions, it is either a break day, a travel day, or a convention prep day. You know, my entire life has been for years building this little business that I've been doing. And in the course of a week, it just went away. I went from being something that I was sure of, knowing that I am a convention artist. This is what I do. This is what I love doing. I went from that to, I don't know if conventions are ever coming back. And I guess I'm unemployed, and now I'm a DoorDasher. And being a DoorDasher it doesn't fit me. I don't know. It's not my passion. It's not the thing I want to do with my life. Again, I am very thankful for it. I will never, I guess I will speak bad sometimes of those platforms, but it's a good job. It's not a bad job, DoorDashing. It's just not for me. I'm good at, this drive I'm doing right now, fine, because I'm on friggin' I-25. Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know. I'm on a road with I can see 3 cars in front of me, and then just rolling hills, and I'm going really fast, and I'm following this one road for 82 miles, and in those 82 miles, my next direction is do not exit this road, keep going. This type of driving is very, very different from, you need to get to the restaurant inside this mall, so find some parking, get out of your car, get to the restaurant as fast as you can, because time is money. If you don't get this order in the next 5 minutes, you're going to be dinged, and then, you get there and they haven't started making it yet, and you're like, the customer's going to yell at me, and then you're the one who loses your tip because they forgot the freaking sauce, It's different. And the city driving is not my forte. I don't do good with merges and one-way streets and having to look down at my map constantly to see which turn it is I'm taking next. I do good with get in the car, go on straight road for 400 miles. I can do that for days. I do that for days. I like road tripping. I do not like city driving. So driving wasn't even a fun thing for me with DoorDashing. It became stressful, which sucks because doing road trips with Brittany was one of my favorite parts of doing conventions, is seeing the world go by, seeing all these little towns and finding little hidden gems and seeing birds flying overhead and watching the weather as it changes and goes across, and you're seeing the sunset wherever I am. I love traveling. I love driving, and DoorDashing took this thing that I loved and made it terrible. I got stressed out getting into the car. It wasn't a good time for me emotionally, because I lost a good sense of my identity. I lost my income. I gained a bunch of debt. I lost my house. And I now had this unsureness of if conventions would ever come back and if I would ever be able to make it as a professional artist. Because even though I was a professional artist up until I wasn't, the thoughts started creeping in of maybe I won't be able to make it when conventions come back. Maybe I really am not good enough. Maybe this was just a phase and I really do have to grow up and get a real job TM, So I'm living at my mom's house, and my mom, bless her heart, she's one of those people, and this is something that I knew about her as a kid, my grandparents would come to town, and my mom would try to buy my grandparents a tank of gas, and they wouldn't let her because they were very solidly, we are the parents, we provide, you don't get to pay for anything, ever, So my mom would not let us pay rent for her basement. What she did is she said, hey, if I was going to charge you rent, let's say I charge you $200 a month, I'm not going to do that. What I want you to do is take that $200 and get some therapy. Because she saw that I was a blubbering little mess that was slowly going insane. And honestly, Brittany's mental health was not doing much better. So she said, you know, don't worry about paying me rent. Use that money. You two go get yourself some therapy. And I think that's one of the reasons I haven't been doing videos during the COVID times, because I've been going to therapy. And, oh, shoot. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, that was, some insurance person wanting me to switch insurance, telling me that they had given me an estimate. However, when did I get new insurance? That was like during COVID times. They had a bad estimate before, and now I've got different credit score, which, yeah, of course I've got different credit score. I've been paying off my freaking credit cards now, thank you. You got a new estimate for you. Screw you. If you were not there for me when I actually needed insurance, I'm not going to switch over to you now that you're like, oh, wait, sorry, you have a good credit score? Actually, never mind. Like, nah, dog, not doing that. I'm sticking with the people who were there for me during COVID. Like, sorry. Anyway, sorry. Those types of calls irk me so much. Because, you know, I run a small business, so at some point in my life, I was looking for financing, and no one would approve me for financing. But suddenly now that I'm a big girl and I've got a good credit score and a good history of this and that and everything, suddenly everyone wants to give me a loan. Screw you guys. Where were you when I wanted you? If any of you had looked at me before I had made something of myself and been, oh, this is someone who's going places, and given me the money, they would have my freaking business. But they don't get it now because they're just going after me now that I'm, like, yeah, it irks me. I don't like it. Anyway, sorry. Brief tangent there. I don't like predatory businesses. I'm just, in general, I do not enjoy. And I think I have yet to have, like, I say my insurance company now is, like, doing good by me. I've never needed to use them. But I have yet to have an insurance company actually give me anything in the case of any event. I've never had insurance pay for a car repair. I've never had, like, they didn't pay me when my car was broken into because I didn't have the right kind of insurance for whatever bullcrap. It's a scam. Insurance is a legally required scam, and I hate it. Anyway, sorry, but that's my spiel. I'm done. But so I was going to therapy during the COVID times. I went to therapy. I started going to therapy. I'm still going to therapy. I like my therapist very much. But I think that's one of the reasons I stopped doing my video log videos is, one, while I was doing DoorDash, I did not have the time, which, again, I mean, I don't right now. I kind of do, but I didn't have the time to do daily draw videos because I didn't have the time to draw, you know? And that's the other thing about door dashing is it's so exhausting. Like, it takes your entire day anyway, and then when you get home, the bit of day you have left, you're just so tired. You don't want to draw. You have to be in, like, a good mental place creatively. At least I do to draw, you know? I have to be in a good mental place. And I just was not during COVID times at all. So, but another reason I didn't do videos is because I realized after I started going to therapy that my videos kind of were therapy, you know? I was just turning on the microphone, turning on my recording app or whatever, and just talking to you, dear listener. Gosh, no, to you, to myself, to my iPad, to my phone, to whatever. But I was talking like I would talk to a therapist. I was just talking about all the things going wrong in my life, or the things going right in my life, and all my feelings and emotions and crap. And I think a lot of content creators would agree that if it's ad-libbed content, if it's not, like, scripted strictly for entertainment purposes, like well-organized content, it is kind of a substitute for therapy. It's, you know, that's where you get your emotions out. But I was actually at therapy, so all of the things that I would have said in videos, I was saying in therapy. So went to therapy, learned some junk about myself, and see, and this is one of the other reasons it's taken me so long to do this video, is because I've been debating with myself how much of this I want to say, because I don't know, when I was doing my daily draw videos, I had, like 150-ish subscribers, maybe more than that, maybe I had like 500, but like I was getting 7 views per video, so I don't know, I never thought people would watch me. I didn't think I'd be seen, you know, which I'm not complaining. I'm very, very grateful that, you know, that people take the time to watch my stuff. If you're still watching this video, by the way, I don't know why, but thank you. Now, you might like watching me draw, you might like listening to me talk, I'm not sure. One way or another, you like what I got to say, so I shouldn't be too nervous about saying the things that I want to say, but I know there's something about undeniably knowing that people are going to hear what you say that just makes it scary, you know? Even though I don't really care what people think about me. I mean, I kind of care what people think about me, because who doesn't? I think that's built into us genetically, but also, like, I don't know, at the end of the day, if people decide they want to hate me, they're going to hate me, and if people decide they want to like me, they're going to like me, and nothing I do will ever change that fact, you know? People are so vastly different that you're going to have people who like you and you're going to have people who hate you. It's just who those people are, you know? And I don't know, at the end of the day, as long as I'm happy with myself, that's what matters, right? But so I know, so I started going to therapy, and I started really okay, so trigger warning now at this point. I'm going to talk about my therapy. I'm going to talk about what's going on with me emotionally and mentally. So trigger warning, because I might talk about some of the traumatic stuff that's happened in my life, TM. And I'm going to talk about some... I don't like calling it mental illness, because I don't think I'm ill, and I don't think anyone who's got the stuff I've got is ill. But I think that's like legally what it's categorized as. That's what humankind's decided to call it. But so I guess trigger warnings for mental illness and talks of abuse. So I started going to therapy. Also, trigger warning, I might talk about some protected substances in the United States at the time of filming this. I am not filming, but at the time of recording this, I might talk about some substances. So, yeah. If you've listened through this whole thing, but now you don't want to hear me talk about substances or mental health, then bye. It was nice having you for this time. For the rest of y'all, I started going to therapy, and I was taking some substances to self-medicate. Because I was depressed as could be. I don't think I can, because I'm not in that mental place right now, so it's kind of hard to kind of put myself there, because again, I've been back at conventions for a couple months now, and I'm doing great, you know? I'm doing good emotionally, I'm doing much better financially. I've got a nice new iPad that's got 2 terabytes of data on it, so hopefully it'll take me a while to fill it up with my bazillion files I end up making. But during the COVID times, I was sad. I was spiraling into absolute hopeless depression. I did not see a reason to continue with my life, because my life was wake up, go to do some work that I hate to make the money to exist, because I'm required to make a certain amount of money for my existence to be justified in this world. And I was really feeling that. I was really, really down on myself. I was not where I wanted to be artistically, and I didn't have any time to draw, and when I did draw, everything that came out was garbage because I wasn't doing good emotionally. So I was feeling like a failure as a person and a failure as an artist, and I really felt the weight of that debt, and I was really, really sad. So I started medicating. I started self-medicating with substance that is not maybe technically the thing I should have been doing. But I don't know. Sorry, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where I've been thinking about what I should say and what I shouldn't say, and I don't feel like I should ever censor myself, like I should ever block out the things that are actually happening in my life, because I don't know what's the point of putting myself out there if I'm not putting myself out there, you know? Like, I know a lot of people, and I'm sure I'm doing it too. I know that we make personas for everything in our lives because we're humans, and no human's a solid, singular being, you know? We all have moods, we all wear different hats. I'm a different person at conventions than I am when I'm with my grandma, and I'm a different person in Walmart, and I'm a different person when I'm with my wife, and I'm a different person. Actually, I'm pretty much the same person with my wife as I am with myself, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I get that we put different parts of ourselves and different presentations of ourselves in the places that we put ourselves, but I don't want to go on the internet and be like, hi, my name's Emily and my life's awesome, nothing's ever gone wrong, you too can be perfectly happy like me, because, like, I don't know, I don't think it's good. I don't think it is good for the health of our society as a whole to have a bunch of people just taking, like, their good pictures from their good days and only the good things that happen to them and putting them on the internet and saying, this is my entire life, is all the good things. I'm always happy and I always smile and I never fight with my loved ones and I've never been sick ever and life is great. You know, like, because then everyone sees these presentations and goes, oh, everyone else in the world is so happy. Everyone else has their crap together. Why aren't I happy? You know, and I think the answer is everyone's happy sometimes and everyone's sad sometimes. And I wish we talked about our bad things more, because I don't know, I mean, granted, I don't want to spread negativity, you know, I don't want to come on the internet and be like, hey, I'm so sad, I'm going to put that on all of you. It's up to all of you to validate me now because I'm the sad girl TM. But, like, I also don't want to come on the internet and be like, it's me, Bubbly McBubbly, I'm always happy and I've never been sad before. Because that's a lie. That's a flat out lie. I'm sad all the time. I mean, not right now. Right now I'm doing pretty good because I'm on my way to Denver to do a show. And, I mean, Brittany's not with me because she's doing... Oh, because that's what Brittany was doing during the COVID times, by the way. She's played Skyrim, and then she went, you know, I'm done sitting around doing nothing. I'm going to apply for a tattoo apprenticeship. So she did, and she got it, and now she's apprenticing for tattooing. She's still technically an apprentice right now. She's doing what might be her last batch of free tattoos tomorrow, and then she'll fly out to come meet me in Denver so we can drive home together, and so we can spend Halloween together, because otherwise we wouldn't be together on Halloween, and that's lame. I know days are just days and nothing really means anything without us giving it meaning, you know, but I don't know, I don't want to be away from my wife on a holiday. That just seems sad. So I'm excited that she'll be joining me. She's just not with me for this drive. But anyway, so yeah, I don't want to not talk about the bad parts of my life. And I don't think my ongoing journey of mental health is a bad thing. I just think it's the type of thing that might make people uncomfortable because people don't like talking about the the weird stuff, I guess. I don't know, I don't know. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say right now. And I just entered a construction zone, so I'm paying more attention to the road right now than I am to where my line of thought was going. But so mental health wise, mental health is such a weird subject because we talk about mental health like there is a standard, and there are some standards of like what is a healthy person and what is unhealthy, but those standards are different for everyone, you know? Like, my healthy body weight is somewhere in like the 170s, but for someone else it's gonna be in like the 120s. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are different, and it's the same with your mental health. For some people, like, I know snapping every once in a while is a completely normal part of their venting process, and that's good. That's how their brain works. That's healthy for them. For me, if I snap, that means that I have done a bad job self-mediating my emotions. I do not get to the point where I snap because I vent. I vent slowly and I vent consistently. And when I can't vent, I hold. I don't snap. If I snap, it means I've been holding on too long and I haven't had time to vent and something is severely wrong with me. So that's a very vague example, but people are different mentally, but also people are the same mentally. You know, they're not the same, but like we're all made of the same stuff. We're all humans. We all bleed when you cut us open, theoretically. I don't know. I haven't gone around and cut everyone open to prove that, but I'm assuming that is the objective reality, is that we're all human beings made of the same stuff, and judging what is going on in someone's head and saying whether it is normal or healthy is a strange concept to me. Because like I know during the COVID times I was not doing well mentally. I was not mentally healthy, but that was because of a very specific outside factor. But while going through therapy and really trying to figure myself out and where these emotions were coming from and why they were getting so bad, and while doing my substances, sorry, that was the person with whom I am sharing a hotel for, I think it's called Denver Pop Culture Con. I don't know, I'll probably go off the whole rant on the whole Comic Con trademark shabuckle at some point. That's not this point, because I was saying something, but sorry, I did have to answer the phone. Mental health is weird because we're taking a bunch of differences in human beings who are all different, and there is no like standard, this is the normal person TM, who is the normal person that we're all comparing ourselves to see what's healthy and what's good. So the idea of categorizing people with specific mental illnesses is strange to me, because I know, like, there are some things I think we can all agree are not ideal mentally. Like, schizophrenia seems like one that is far less than ideal and very, very much interferes with your ability to just, like, live your day-to-day life. So, like, that's a thing that needs special consideration, and you might need additional help for, but I still don't like calling it an illness, because it's also just like how your brain works, you know? So I don't know, but I don't have schizophrenia. I guess I don't have the right to talk about that. My therapist thought I might have schizophrenia, but I don't. I do not. But I did a little bit of research into schizophrenia to see if that was the thing that I have, and I'm really glad I don't. And if you have schizophrenia, I applaud you for making it through life. Holy crap. Like, dang. Anyway, sorry, I went off there. But so there are a couple labels for myself that I have accepted in my life, because like, yeah, valid. Like, Asperger's is one. I was diagnosed at, I don't even remember when. It was after Michael was in elementary school when that happened. So, like, no, that's another one I'd rather say. I said I wouldn't say names, and I keep saying names. When I was a kid, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, and I was told what things I do that make them think that is the thing that I have. And I went, yeah, that sounds like me. Okay, so I accepted the label, and, that I'm an adult, and I've actually, like, done my own research on it. I still agree with this. I still think I do have the tendencies in my mannerisms that match with the descriptors that we have decided are Asperger's, So, like, yeah, that's a label that I will take, but I still don't think it's, like, an illness, and I'm not sure if the autism spectrum is considered mental illness or just mental, like, definition. Like, if it's just a definition of what's happening with you mentally. Because there are bits of that affect your day-to-day, and there are bits of it that don't. Like, my Asperger's tendencies generally do not affect my day-to-day life one way or the other. It's just a descriptor for how I am. I am a redhead, and I am an Asperger child, it's just descriptors. Which, now that I think about it, I'm not sure how much of the things that have put me in the Asperger's category are also covered by whatever. Anyway, I'm beating around the bush instead of just saying the thing, and I should just say the thing. So I dissociate. I've been dissociating since I was a child. I've been aware that I have been dissociating since I was about 8. I do not have multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder. I do not have DID. I want to put that out there. I don't have distinct, separate parts of myself that completely take over, and I don't forget big chunks of time like that while the other parts of me are doing things. I do not have DID. I potentially have, and this is, again, where this all gets really confusing, because there are 2 different terms for this state of mental being. One of them is OSDD, which is Other Specified Dissociative Disorder. The other is DDNOS, which is Dissociative Disorder Not Otherwise Specified. So I have a dissociative disorder that is either specified or not specified, depending on which version of the book you're looking at. So, anyway, I have a dissociative disorder, if you will. It's not dissociative identity disorder. It does mess with my identity. It has a lot of overlap, but I don't have distinct parts of myself, and I don't switch. But I do have parts of myself, and, well, I guess I do switch, I just don't black out when I switch. It's when you, well, and again, I don't know how much of a normal human thing this is, and how much of it is me and my brain having processed trauma the way that it has my entire life, and that's shaping my experiences. But, like, when you kind of, like, zone out while reading, that's a good one. I think people do that. You zone out while you're reading, and you get to the end of the page, and you realize that, yeah, technically you read that entire page, but you did not read any of that page. None of the anything is with you. You may as well have been asleep the entire time. It's not there. It's that kind of, but on a much bigger scale. I'll get done doing, like, a full day of DoorDash and realize that I've just done a full day of DoorDash that I wasn't really there for. I was there. I know what happened. I can look back in the moment and go, yeah, I did this and this and this, but I wasn't there. Does that make sense? I don't know. And again, putting words on this stuff is new for me. So I don't know, I don't have an official diagnosis one way or another, mostly I think because, like, if it's not DID, there's not really a name for it. You know, you either have the big dissociation or you just dissociate. You know what I'm saying? But apparently dissociating, by the way, is like weird common. Like having having DID is fairly uncommon, but having a dissociative disorder is more common than having red hair. Like it's a very common thing that goes on, and people don't talk about it because, let's be real, what are the examples of any dissociation in media? Like, we got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, we have Junko Enoshima, we've got basically any psychotic killer person who, there was another part of me that was hiding deep inside my deep brain that's actually the crazy part of me, and now it's come out and I can't control it, TM. You know, which, like, hypothetically is a thing that could happen, but that's generally not how it happens. Generally, it's, I was yelled at a lot as a child, and I was hurt physically if I spoke back while I was being yelled at, so I didn't. So I spent hours standing there, not saying anything, trying not to listen to the words that were being yelled at me because they were so hurtful and made me hate myself very much, and I did not want to hate myself. So a part of me stood and listened and nodded and answered appropriately when I needed to, and another part of me was gone in another world somewhere because I couldn't be myself. I didn't want to be myself. I didn't want to be there. So I wasn't. I was a Divian off on an adventure, like finding some cool ruins, and I was someone else. I was somewhere else. And I know several things, both emotional like that, like it being a verbal assault, and physical things happened to me when I was a kid that I couldn't escape. I couldn't leave physically, so I left them mentally. And that, since I've been doing that since I was a kid, that's just how my brain and body have started handling stress. I don't know. I don't know if I actually just said anything that makes sense. I don't know if any of this makes sense. But so I'm seeing my therapist still. I'm also seeing a separate a specialist who is a trauma she's a trauma specialist, just trauma therapist, and she specializes in dissociations. And she's been helping me kind of try to figure out what's going on. I don't see her very often because, well, during the COVID times I couldn't afford to, and since the COVID times I've been too busy, and I'm trying to set up an appointment, but I'm a bad adult, and I missed the call the first time, and I haven't called them back because I'm a bad adult. And I know in my brain I go, oh, I need to do that. And the other part of my brain that's in charge of logging the things I need to do goes, oh, was the thing you needed to do remembering that you needed to do that? I guess it's done then, and checks it off, and it leaves my brain forever. So by the way, if I have something that I am supposed to have done for you at some point, and I haven't done it, this is probably why, and please reach out to me if it's been, like, an unjust amount of time for the thing you're waiting for. Please reach out to me and remind me. I guarantee you I probably just forgot it, because that's what my brain does when things get stressful, and being late on things is stressful. So the later I am on, like, commissions or web orders, or like just sending you the information you asked for a month ago, the later I am on that, the more stressful it is. Therefore, the less I can think about it, because my brain I can't handle stress. I can't handle confrontation. I break down. And then that's one of the, I don't know, the indicators, is that the right word? That's one of the things that I might do in this way specifically, because I am the type of person who fits into the label of either specified or non-specified dissociative disorder. Is like, if I'm in trouble at like a store or like a hotel or something, like if there's like a manager there confronting me, like yelling at me because I did something wrong, I go into the mode that I went into when my mom or dad or one of the bishops or one of my other church leaders would yell at me. I go into that mode. I can't stop myself from going into that mode. I know in my brain and in my heart, that, this manager thinking that I, like, am stealing something when really I just, like, forgot and walked out of the store with it or something, like, is not equivalent to, like, anything where I'm actually in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know. That's not a good example because that hasn't happened, but I can't think of a good example because I forget stressful things. But if something, what do you, okay, sorry, my phone just doesn't know where I am because I'm not on the road it wants me to be on, because I am on the construction detour. This has been some long construction. It's still construction from back when I said it was construction before. It's been long and not my favorite drive. I mean, it's still a good drive. I just don't like driving in construction because things get congested, and that makes it much more like city driving, and there's not the shoulders on the side. And yeah, sorry, I'm a little stressed out.
Continue on I-25 south for 36 miles.
I will, thank you. So like, if I'm confronted by a person in a managerial position for almost any reason, I will shrink. I will go to this state that I have always gone to, which is my self-preservation, be quiet, be still, don't offend anyone, don't do anything bad, and it'll be over soon, just wait through it state. I can't stop doing that. It's not something that affects my day-to-day life, because I'm not generally in trouble with people in managerial social positions, in authoritative positions, that's the word. I'm not generally in trouble with figures of authority in my life. One, because that stresses me out to be in trouble with authority figures. I am a people pleaser. I like being on people's good side. I don't like being in trouble. But when it does happen, I switch to a part of myself that is very good at just getting through things, and then I can come back to me when we're okay again, when I'm somewhere safe and everything's fine. I haven't been in very many situations like this that this would really happen. I've been in a few, but I don't really want to talk about them in specifics right now. But I don't know, the things like that, and then I forget big chunks of time because I block my time off according to, like I was talking about earlier, where, I don't remember very much about basically like my entire, any aspect of my life that had to do with my time in Mormonism. I don't remember, because that's something that ended very poorly and with a lot of stress and hurt for me. So that whole part of me is somewhere. I'm sure technically I have those memories, I'm sure they're not like wiped out. And sometimes I'll just be sitting there and I'll just remember something that happened forever and a half ago and be like, I forgot that happened, you know? And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll remember something that happened and I'll go, I forgot that happened, because it's not a good thing that happens, and then I feel gross and terrible for a bit. And yeah, anyway, so when I was little, there was a time where, and I'm going to preface this with, I love my dad. I have a good relationship with my dad. My dad is a different person today than he was 20 years ago when I was a kid. Yeah, gosh, more than that. 25 years ago when I was a kid. I'm getting old, dang. You know, my dad's been through 25 years of his own crap. One of his craps being, you know, dealing with the repercussions of the way he treated his children when he was a young parent. But I don't hold it against him, because I don't know, he was going through his own stuff. I don't think he was ready to be a dad. I'm not sure he even wanted to be a dad in the way he was. He was, he didn't fit well into Mormonism, but he wanted to, because his family was Mormon and he didn't want to, you know, like, disappoint the family. Growing up, my extended family was very much about performance. And I think as the cousins have gotten older, we all kind of went, that's kind of weird that our parents were like that, let's not. So I've got good relationships with all of the cousins that I still have an adult relationship with. But there was a lot of tension in the family because there was a hierarchy among my dad's siblings, where he was the youngest, but he was his mom's favorite, and that put him in this position of where he should have been like the last on the chain, but he almost wasn't, so they had to make him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of animosity that people held towards each other for whatever reason, and they just didn't grow up like talking about feelings and stuff. You know, it was a different time. I can't say because I'm not my dad, but my dad was a different person when he was young. That's the point. My dad was a different person who was not in a good place emotionally or mentally when he had kids. And he parented, I'm assuming, the way that his parents parented. So there was a decent amount of physical punishment that was not at all, is justified the right word? Not equal to the transgressions that I would commit as like a 3 to 5 year old. I was little. I was really, really little. And I would do things like not want to finish my green beans because I didn't like green beans. And my dad would flick me in the cheek over and over and over until my cheeks bled. And then I would eat my bloody green beans, you know? Like, things like that. Or I don't even remember what the things I did wrong were. I think a lot of it was my dad was just upset, so anything I did was annoying, and he just wanted me to shut up and go away. So he would like pick me up by my hair and slam me against the wall and tell me to shut up, and you know, things like that. Things where I was a baby. I couldn't do anything about it. I had to just get through that moment and then process what happened. And then it would happen again sporadically for things that I you know, like, and I didn't grow up with I better be a really, I guess I did, like, I better be a really good kid, but more than that, I wanted to be invisible because I didn't want to be seen at all, because whoever was the most visible when dad was in a mood was the one who was gonna get their hair pulled, or the one who was gonna get flicked, or whatever else happened, you know? Anyway, so I know that this stuff happened to me because I've remembered it, but I didn't remember it. There was a point when I still lived in Salt Lake, and I don't think Matthew was born yet. So, sorry, and again, this is how I see time, is in events, because I don't keep track of numbers. I'm bad with numbers, I'm bad with labels. But there was a time when I was a kid, I was playing basketball with Andrew in the front yard, on the driveway. And Andrew started talking about, you remember when Dad used to do this stuff? Because, at some point my dad realized he was, really hurting his children, and he didn't want to do that, so he stopped, So it wasn't a thing that went on my entire childhood, but long enough that it shaped the way that I process things. So, by the way, I don't know if my dad watches my videos. If you do, I love you, Dad. I'm sorry I'm talking about this, but I don't know. It's what came out of my mouth, so it's what I'm saying. Gosh, I hope he's not watching this. I'm sorry if you're watching this, Dad. Okay, nope. Okay. Sorry. So Andrew wanted to talk about this. Andrew wanted to talk about the things like, hey, remember when Dad did this? And I went, what? And he went, Dad used to pick you up and he would throw you in the closet and this and that. And as Andrew's talking, this floodgate of memories came back, and I remembered years of stuff that was gone from my mind. I had not remembered any of it. And I realized, and again, I was 8 to 10. I was little at this point, that I realized that I had forgotten a lot of my life already. I had just forgotten it. It was just gone. It was there, but the memories were there. They came back, but they were gone. They were just blocked, And I freaked out because I went, because my grandma had Alzheimer's. And that was my experience at 10 years old with memory problems, was Alzheimer's. And I went, oh gosh, do I have Alzheimer's? Am I going to die this horrific, terrible, lonely death? And so I talked to my mom about it. I said, I'm forgetting things. I'm forgetting things. Is that normal? What's wrong? And, and I remember my mom said, no, you forget the hard things. That's normal. I do that. Your grandma does that. Your aunt does that. It's just how you are. So I think I'm genetically predisposed to dissociating under stress, because apparently my mom and my aunts and my grandma all do it. But so I grew up knowing that I dissociate, knowing that I forget when things get too stressful, but not really understanding what that meant and what the greater repercussions of that were in my life. And again, I don't want to call it a mental illness, because I'm not ill, I'm not sick. It's just the way that my brain processes things. And I'm willing to bet there are tons of people out there that this happens to, and they just don't have the words for it, because it's not something people really talk about. Well, first of all, it's not something people talk about, and second of all, you don't know that you block memories unless you remember a blocked memory. You don't know what you've forgotten until you remember it. So a lot of people don't know that they dissociate, because that's kind of the point of dissociation, is it takes you away from the things in your life that you cannot mentally handle. So yeah, I learned through therapy and a lot of soul-searching time and the use of substances that I probably shouldn't have been using but don't regret using, so whatever. I learned that my dissociation tendency, if you will, my tendency to dissociate is a little more complicated than I'd thought growing up. I also remembered a lot of stuff through through high school that I had forgotten and not remembered that I'd forgotten. And a lot of that had to do with me realizing again, because there have been several times in my life that I've forgotten that I dissociate and then remembered again when it became applicable. But yeah, remembering that I remembered again in high school that I do dissociate, that's a thing I do. And I don't know what to call her. The person that I liked in high school, the thing, I can't say she wasn't my girlfriend because we were never officially dating, but we were kind of dating for like 5 years, but neither of us would admit it because, again, you know, we were Mormons, and Mormons don't lesbian. That's not good. That's not okay with Mormon Jesus, you know. That's not okay with most Jesus, but especially Mormon Jesus, that's very not okay with. So there was a lot of weird stuff there, and that's a whole other thing. I could go off another 2 hours about that, but I think I'm actually, oh gosh, I'm over my 2 hours. I've been talking over 2 hours, shoot. I really need to wrap this up, don't I? If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry I'm like this. I'm not sorry I'm like this, but there was no point really to anything I said. I just wanted to talk to you about what was going on during the quarantine times and kind of, I know, it's for you. It is for you, whoever's listening, whether that be me in the future. Hi, future me. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're not cringing too hard at this version of past you like I cringe at DeviantArt me. I hope you're past that part of your life where you're ashamed of not being professional in everything you do. Because, I don't know, you gotta let yourself be a beginner sometimes. I was a beginner artist, and right now I'm a beginner at trying to be mentally healthy. And I'm working on it. I think I've come a decent way. Having my job back really helps. So, having... And again, I say this with a big old grain of salt and a big knock on wood here. Really, really hoping that the quarantine times are actually over and the conventions are here to stay. But if they're not, I don't know. I think I'm more prepared next time for if something goes like this again. If I lose conventions again, I'm in a better place with myself. Because I'm dealing with some of my trauma, you know? And not just because I'm dealing with some of my trauma, because I'm taking time to really think about all of the things about myself that I've hated and ask myself why I hate those things. And the end, like, you should never hate yourself. You know, you got one you. You got one life and you got one you, and you are you. And I know, I used to think that you could change yourself anytime you wanted because, you know, you decide what you are. But, I don't know, it's the same as writing a character sometimes. If you do something that doesn't feel like something you would do, you feel wrong. You feel gross, like you've done something out of character for yourself, you know? So, I don't know, even if you're not a one solid self, which, again, I don't think anyone really is one self because we all got different hats. But, just, I don't know, love yourself. Love yourself. You're worth loving, I promise you. No matter what crap you've done. Because first of all, every human has done crappy things. And embarrassing things. And cringy things. And things that they wish they didn't do. But also, like, you learned to not do the bad thing by doing the bad thing and going, oh, didn't like that, you know? So, like, I don't know, let yourself be a beginner, let yourself make mistakes, love yourself. There's something. There's some words for you. There's some words. I'm gonna call this video done now because I've been talking for over 2 hours. I don't remember how long my thing was. I said it was kind of impromptu. I decided last night I might try to do this audio recording while I was driving. And then I was driving and I don't know, it felt right, so I did it. I might do another video later where I talk a bit more in depth about, I don't know, my brain and the way it works, because I'm trying to figure it out, and putting words on it helps with that. So if that's something you want to see, let me know. If you made it to this far in the video, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you want to stick around, there's a subscribe button. Not to be like that, but there's a subscribe button. If you click it, then it shows you, sometimes when I make new videos, it shows you the ones it wants to show you. If you click the bell, it shows you all of them, I think. I'm not sure exactly how the algorithms work. I'm not sure anyone knows how the algorithms work, but I am told that's how the algorithms work. So if you want to hear more stuff that I say with my mouth, you can subscribe. You can watch more videos. There's probably like a playlist showing right about now of other things, possibly of like my daily draw videos, which I might start daily draws up again. I don't know. We'll see where life takes me. I've been thinking about it. So if you want to see daily draws, let me know. If you want more videos where I ramble for 2 hours, let me know. If you would like me to actually do my scripted videos, let me know. Or if you're just kind of along for the ride, hope you enjoy. Hope you like the things I have put into the world. Yeah, and I hope that you personally, I hope you have a good day. Bye! Hello. I know I just said goodbye, but this is future Emily saying hello again. I just finished listening through the audio that I recorded before, because even though I had said in that audio that I don't like censoring, I was worried that I had said some things that I might want to censor. So I listened to it with Brittany, my wonderful wife, who puts up with me. I love you, Brittany. You're very kind to me. Because I don't have headphones. You heard it here first, folks. My lesbian wife is in fact saying that she's gay, but she's actually not. She's secretly bi. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. Anyway, yeah, it turns out iPads, as wonderful as they are and as much battery storage and memory storage as they have compared to the Surface, you know what they don't have? It's a headphone port. They don't have a headphone port. And you know what I don't have? I don't have any Raycons, because I didn't purchase any Raycons, and I haven't been sponsored by Raycon. So this video has not been sponsored by Raycon. It is being sponsored by me, and me alone, and my wife, I guess, and maybe the cat. Are you gonna help sponsor the video, Keat? No. Yeah, that was a very real Keat response there. I really hope this thing is actually picking you up, Brittany, because if I'm not, I'm talking to myself and I sound crazy. Anyway, for you person watching the video, hello again. You might notice that the video is not done, even though the old narration from a couple months ago said it was. At the time of this new recording, it is January. Nope, it's not. It is December 31st of 2021. So it's New Year's Eve. It's the day before New Year, and I have had this project of, posting all of the chibis from the quarantine times and onward. I've had this project in mind, as I said before, and the video has been done for it for quite a while, and then I did the audio for it, and then I still didn't put it together. But then with New Year's coming up, I have been thinking more and more about daily draws, because I like doing my daily draws, and nothing really improves your drawing as much as doing consistent daily drawings. And I want to get back into the habit of it. So, yeah, I know I ended the last recording by saying maybe I will consider doing more daily draws, but actually, I've decided now that yes, I'm going to do more daily draws. So, hi, if you're still watching this, welcome to what is the first daily draw? This is many days of daily draws.
This is the third welcome at the ending of a video.
Yes, this is the third ending welcome to the welcome end of the year. It's been one very long year. Can you believe just last year was 2019 and the world was great? I'm lying. The world was not great in 2019. I don't know if the world's ever been great or ever will be. But welcome. The point is, I'm going to start posting daily draw videos. So I hope you're up for that. Because if you're not, you're about to be spammed with a bunch of daily draw videos. And then whatever videos I like, like, I'm still doing animations. I've still got a bunch of, like, scripted videos that I'm going to do. I'm also going to start doing daily draws again. And I want to start it on January 1st, because, I don't know, if I'm challenging myself to try to draw every single day, doesn't it make sense to start on January 1st, you know? So, yeah, starting tomorrow, we're going to have daily draws, and I'm going to go until I burn myself out on it. So, it might be 2 days. It might be 2 months. It might be the whole year. Who knows? We're gonna find out. So, thank you for watching through this video. And what's this? We're now perfectly timing this video, so this part of the narration is at the outro. Whoa, you awesome person who has watched through the entire video. I have a special gift for you. Thank you for watching through the video and listening to my rambling. I present to you the roulette of chibis. Go ahead and push that pause button on the video whenever you like to find your government-assigned chibi waifu. Spoiler alert, based on the odds of probability, there's a good chance it's a hamster. Okay, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow in the first daily draw. Okay, Happy New Year. Unless you're watching this anytime but New Year's. In which case, get thinking of your New Year's resolutions, because New Year's is going to come up on you before you know it. Okay, have a good day, y'all. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to the goodbye. This is the portion of the video where we say goodbye. Okay, goodbye.